actress you know from shows like The Last Man on Earth, as well as films like Elf, Step Brothers, Philadelphia, and Parenthood. She stars in A Man on the Inside. The second season is streaming November 20th on Netflix. Let's take a look.
There will always be reasons not to do something. We spend a third of our lives at work. If you're not getting value out of your job, you should quit. The rest will work itself out.
You know what? You're right. I told Joel years ago that I wanted to go back to school, and he was super supportive. I'm gonna quit my job.
Do it. Do it now.
Really?
Yes, what else are we gonna do? The bread isn't even here yet.
Please welcome back to the show, Mary Steenburgen, everybody.
Good.
I'm very excited to have you here. I'm very excited you're working with your lovely husband, Ted Danson, on this show. And you just celebrated your 30th wedding anniversary. Congratulations. And look, I love Ted very deeply. Yes. I know you love Ted very deeply.
I do.
And yet at the same time, I've heard that maybe he's doing something you don't love.
You know what? I think it's important because he does have this sort of aura of being somewhat perfect, or at least he's pretty sure he does.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, there's just one or two things. And one is that whenever he wants to kind of reflect enthusiasm, he'll say a word, and they change sometimes, but he really believes these words are hip.
Oh, no.
And so he'll say them, and then for 6 months, every time anyone says anything, he'll double down on it. So, like, the original one was snap. Like, after everything I said, it would be snap. Then the next one was schmoly, which was holy moly, but got cleverly shortened to schmoly.
Yep.
And then...
Cleverly.
Cleverly, yes. And then the last one was schnikes. And it was like after and my kids came and said, can you please ask Ted to stop? And now, the other day, I noticed there's a new one, but it's like a tender one. It's like, you'll say, oh, I made you, I made the bed, and go, bless.
Does it your heart break the first time he says bless? Because you know, you're like, oh, this is gonna be 6 months of life.
Yes, I do know.
Where is he getting these words?
I don't know, but somehow he thinks they're super cool. And I'm like, dude, people think you are cool. Like, you don't need to do this.
Yeah. And then when you say that, is he like, bless?
Yeah, bless. Bless for saying that.
Well, I would like to walk back how much I love him, because this seems very irritating. I'm joking, of course. This is, you play a very, you're on a college campus this season.
Right.
You play a very eccentric music professor. And I guess people are telling you they see a lot of you in this character. Are you surprised by it?
Well, yeah, because I read it and went, oh, she's pretty crazy, And then Mike Schur and everybody keeps going, yeah, we based it right on you. So there's stuff directly taken from your life that Ted has told us, and it's all you.
That's really funny.
Her name is Mona, and she had a one-hit wonder when she was young. She was a big star. She opened for Fleetwood Mac at the Royal Albert Hall. She was really something, and then the band fell apart, and she went back to school and studied music, and now she's been a music professor forever. And she was a really fun character to play, and yes, she might be a little like me. So
it was nice they at least didn't name her Mary.
Exactly.
You were in school in Arkansas.
Yep.
And you had professors that sort of saw talent in you and suggested you come up here to New York City. Is that right?
Yeah, I went to 1 year of college, to an incredible college, actually very similar to the one that's celebrated in our show. That's Wheeler College. And my school was Hendrix College, and it's a beautiful liberal arts college, but I left it to come up here and study with Sandy Meisner at the Neighborhood Playhouse.
And when you come up here, I imagine you're one of those people who probably doesn't have a great amount of money. So what were your early living quarters like when you first came to New York City?
Well, my very first place was called the East End Hotel for Women, and you got
that sounds like a trap.
It was divine. You got a room and 2 meals a day for $42.50 a week.
Wow.
Yeah, bless on that one. Yeah, it was. And then 2 friends that also were there. The 3 of us moved into a 1-bedroom apartment, which felt enormous compared to the cell I'd been in. And I tried to work at Doubleday Bookstore on 53rd and 5th. I passed it on the way here, by the way. And then I was spending all my money on books because you got a discount on books. And then...
That's how they hook you.
Yeah. And then I learned I could make much more money waitressing. So for many years, I did that.
Did you take to waitressing naturally? Were you good at it?
You know, I lied to get my first job. My friend Momo Yashima told the lady who ran this place, Bubbles, which was a little bar restaurant on 65th and 1st called Noah's Ark. And she said, she's so experienced. You know, I'd never waitressed in my life.
Right.
And so I had on stupid shoes, not quite this stupid, but I mean, these are pretty, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah.
And blisters the first night, and Bubbles goes, okay, you got the job, but don't ever lie to me again.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I would say a lot of New York City Bubbles can have pretty good BS detectors.
Put the fear of God in you.
A couple years ago, it was a very exciting rite of passage for us. We showed Elf to our kids for the first time.
We did.
And it's such a wonderful, holiday tradition to show that movie. Is that a movie that you and your family ever rewatch?
Yes, we will be watching it at Christmas, and then the kids will all say, can we make spaghetti and put maple syrup on it and see? And I'm like, I ate that all day long, and I do not recommend it.
That was the first time you worked with Will Ferrell, playing his stepmother, but then you did again in Step Brothers, which is a rite of passage that's still a few years away.
It is.
I mean, there's certain scenes where, with my boys where I'm like, I just cannot wait to
please
watch.
Wait.
Yeah, I know I have to wait.
It's not time yet.
I know it's not time, but I'm like, oh my God, the first time they watch that bunk bed scene, they're gonna die. Literally, they're literally gonna die.
Gives us so much more room for activities.
Is it true that Will reached out to ask you about Step Brothers after having worked with you?
Yeah, we had so much fun on Elf, so he called and he said, you played my stepmom in Elf. Would you be insulted if I asked you to play my mom in Step Brothers? I said, well, what year were you born? And we did a little math, and I said, well, I would have had you when I was 11.
Yeah.
But I said I'd be insulted if you asked anybody else. So we had the best time.
And I think if you watch that film, he looks like someone who was raised by an 11-year-old. Like I think a lot of when you realize like where he ended up.
Yeah, it's true.
This is not the first time you've worked with your husband Ted. This is this Pontiac Moon? Is that what this is? And were you married yet when you did this one?
In life, no.
Okay.
But in the movie, yes.
Yes. And then Gulliver's Travel.
Then we were literally sending out wedding invitations. We were not yet married.
Okay, gotcha. And then this is Ink.
Yes.
And you were married but divorced on the show.
Divorced.
Right.
Yeah.
And then on Curb, you're playing yourselves but also divorced.
Starting out married, and then Larry thoughtfully had us get divorced on the show.
Right.
And we did have calls from people that should have known better saying, please say it ain't so.
I would like, it's very...
By the way, some of whom you know. I'll tell
I'm
you
sure.
later.
By the way, I know exactly. I've got some guesses. There's nothing funnier to me than people being like, hey, I know we have a lot of friends. How should we tell them we're splitting up? And it's like, I think we should do it on Curb.
Yeah, on Curb. Sounds good.
I think let's put it in Larry's gentle hands.
Yes.
Congratulations on the show. It's always so lovely to see you. Thank you for being here,
too,
Mary.
Seth.
Mary Steenburgen, everybody, the second season of A Man on the Inside is streaming November 20th on Netflix. So be right back.